Hello everybody, this is Dark Killer. So today I'll be talking a little bit about remote access and remote blocks, the remote control blocks. So if you remember, we have had this main base and we've got a relay running from this relay 2 to relay 1 to our mining base over at the mining outpost. So let me get into the seat. From the seat, you can see I've got the normal control panel for my main base itself. But if I go to remote access, click on that, and you'll see it will be listing the grids within antenna range from closest to furthest. Second thing you can notice, there's take control. The first four is grayed out, and the scout drone and the patrol drone is available for control. Now it is because these blocks don't have remote control blocks on them, and these ones do have. The one that popped up was a ship moving into its broadcast range, into the receiving range, or being received by my antennas there over at the mining base. Now if I'm gonna go to say the mining base and I'll go through to its terminal, the control panel comes up, and the control panel looks the same as the main base, as if I'm seated on that ship, on that grid, on that base. And you can see I've got cameras I can go into, and I can, for example, view through that camera. Now, the interesting thing is if I F to exit it, I actually completely exit remote. So you'll have to go back in again. I can go to my basic assembler and switch it on and off. I can go to my basic refinery, switch it on and off. I can go to the inventory screen, and I can look at the contents on that mining base. So I can see, do I need to go out there and remove things? Do I need to do some more mining? Anything like that, for example. Still back on the control panel, I can go to my turret, change its settings, say fire missiles, shoot at missiles, target neutrals, target enemies, but I can also go to control, and I can have a look through that Gatling to see what's going on around that mining base, but I can also, of course, shoot at any possible enemies that have come into range. But again, if I press F, I completely leave the control, and I have to go back to remote access. So we also have two drones over there. We have a scout drone and a patrol drone. So if I go to the control on my scout, you'll see my third person vision does not switch over to that scout. I am actually still physically seated here. So for me to see what's going on, I have to use its camera. So camera on the scout drone, let's look around. I can see there is my mining base, there is a miner, and there is the patrol drone. Now if you remember, I said antennas have a range of receiving and broadcasting. The broadcasting range on this antenna is 1 kilometer. So what do you think will happen if I move away a kilometer from this base? Now, if I was flying, for example, with dampeners off, the drone will keep on flying at this speed when I lose control of it. So I have a drone now floating through space. Dampeners was off on it, dampeners was on it, so it will stop by itself. But I'm probably not going to know where that drone is. So what can I do? If I go to my patrol drone and I look through its K menu, you'll see there's two remote blocks. So one is my control, which I'm using now to fly the drone, the patrol drone. But also I have a return, and I've set it up to return to the mining base to avoid collision so that it doesn't fly right up to the base. And also I have precision, so it will try to get to as close as possible to the base. But that point is inside the mining base. So what will happen with the drone is we'll fly right up to it, but there's a grid, a base, a ship in the way. So it will keep on flying around to try and get to that point. So I might think, okay, I'm gonna set up a second GPS for my remote to patrol drone to return to if I lose signal. Or I'm thinking maybe I can set up a patrol path for this drone, but I'm not there. I'm actually over there at the main base. Now, if I do GPS, as we would normally do, this new from current position is me as the engineer over at the main base. So it's not going to create the GPS point here. I can go to chat, GPS, patrol point, point 1, and it will create the GPS here where the drone is. But as you can realize, this is going to go out in open chat. So just be careful on that. Maybe do it in faction chat or something different so that this doesn't pop up in your group global chat, that everybody can know where your base is, where your patrol point is. So if I go to this one and I say patrol or circle, and I choose that patrol point and add it, I'm gonna need the second one, so let's say over here, and we want the GPS for patrol point 2, create it, go back to that remote main, and we say patrol from point 1 to point 2. It won't become available right now because actually I'm controlling this block. Because I am in the remote, I can't control it. The same thing again with my Gatling. I can view the camera. It has got no problem with me viewing the camera. But if I want to control the Gatling while I'm using remote control to control the drone, control is disabled because I can't move the mouse while I am in control of the subgrid. So Gatling turret is going to be out of control or unavailable for control. Looking through the turret and trying to shoot at anybody that is trying to come at my base. If I did want to use that control, I actually will have to exit it. Go back to game menu, remote access, the patrol drone, go to terminal, and my Gatling, and now you can see I can control it. But while I'm using the remote on this block, I will not be able to control this. The second thing I can show you is that if I go back to game menu, again the patrol, I don't want to control it, I actually just want to go to its terminal, and that main control, and now autopilot is available, and if I switch it on, that ship is going to be patrolling. So I can view through the camera, I can exit, and I can remote access it again, terminal, and I can go to the Gatling and control. Because now what's happening at the moment is the remote is not being controlled by me. The remote is controlling the block flying, but I'm accessing it through terminal. If I was accessing this through its remote, in that I'm flying this drone remotely, switching the remote control blocks on and off, and or controlling Gatlings, for example, would be disabled. Alright, so I want to show you something else with that drone. So let's go to terminal again. Let's switch off this autopilot and let's control the ship. So as I said, I'm gonna fly around a little bit. but unfortunately I don't want the same thing to happen that happened with my scout drone, where it goes outside of this antenna's range of a kilometer, that I'm going to lose control. I have a timer block here and a second remote control. Timer block I set up for, let's say, 2 minutes, and its action will be to switch on the remote control return, so that the autopilot switches on that block. And if I go to my remote, so I'm in control of the ship now. I'm roughly 180.8 meters from that station. I'm going to trigger the timer. As you can hear, it's running. And every minute, you just keep on triggering. It's like a dead man's switch. So when you, for example, lose connection, it goes out of range, it's going to count down that 2 minutes and trigger the second remote and start that drone of mine returning back to its base. So on that note, let's also jump back to the mining base, because I've got a miner there. Now, the reason I want to have a look at the miner is the same thing sometimes happens with you flying around. So you see I've got this remote facing backwards, and there's a reason for that. I have a rock that I want to go mine, and we're going to make a hole on the side of this thing. So same thing with the timer. I can set it up, let's say remote, that as I'm flying, this remote will do collision avoidance, precision mode, and return to the mining base. So if I'm running its timer, let's just check the timer. It should also be 2 minutes. I switch off dampeners a lot of times when I'm flying, and that stresses me out. For example, when you're flying around and you suddenly lose internet connection, or the server resets, or there's a reset of the whole server. You have a ship flying through space now at 6 meters per second, and 10 minutes from now, 20 minutes from now, an hour from now, who knows where this ship is going to be. Yes, you can do a contract block, you can do find my grid, but I do also want to do a dead man switch on this ship. So at the moment, if I'm running the timer, you will have it switch over from the dampeners off to the remote control, and the remote control will fly it back to the base. But if I am, for example, going to be mining now, and this maybe looks like a good spot. I think there's ore in there somewhere. I'm gonna dig a hole here. There's some ice. I want to get some ice. Now, when I go into this, the patrol drone is returning. So if I'm going into this space, the direct line to that base is not going to be available anymore. So I'm going to leave a trail of crumbs for my ship to get out of it. So I am just going to do a little pathing for it. Oh, and there's gold. Let's do the gold. We can always come back for the ice. So line of sight to my base is going to be a problem now. The other thing you might ask is, why don't I do the remote forward? So as you can see, my remote block is actually facing backwards. Now the reason I did it this way around is, if I am in a hole, I've dug a very deep hole for this miner, and as you can see, the shape I have the miner is the same size as the drills, so it can go pretty deep. If I don't have it backwards, the remote will take over, switch on, and then try to turn the ship around. But the ship is nose deep inside a hole. So we're going to have a problem there. It will try to be turning around, get stuck. That's the same reason I did this trail of crumbs behind me, so that if I lose control, I have been running the timer, but my timer is ready and we can say, all right, trigger now. So it is trying to maneuver in and out, in and out. The reason it's not 8. So as you can see, it is trying to maneuver, but it's trying to turn directly towards the base. I have to go to my remote, make sure that I have set up that trail of crumbs. Remove this one. Now, as you saw, there was a problem for it trying to get out. I have this as my first waypoint, and then I have the mining base as my second waypoint. So if I run the timer now and I start the remote, the timer runs. Remote, come on, why are you not playing nicely with me? Autopilot on, one way. Okay, so having now created that exit path for it, it's not going to try and turn the ship towards the base, trying to find its way through this asteroid directly through the rock. I'm actually set it up to go back to this point and then turn around and go towards the base. Now, the other thing that is useful with remote blocks is that, for example, if I go to my remote and you see there is these GPSs, I can take this and I can set up an action there. I can tell it to switch on the sorter, start throwing out rock, or I can tell it to dock, or I can tell it to do pretty much any action that is built into the G menu of that specific blocks. And you can build up a whole train of events that block tools. If I, for example, have I want to set up automatic mining. I have my drills. All the drills is in a group. And for example, I wanted to fly to dark kilo, and then a dark kilo remote. When it gets to dark kilo, coming back again, I wanted to say, for example, my drills were on. So I set a action, all my drills were on, and I want the drills to switch off. So you can build up actions for each and every GPS. Now, you can also set up this drill mining ship to drill straight through that rock. You can set up a GPS on this one side, a GPS on the other side. Switch on timers that when it goes straight through the rock, it can turn around, and the patrol drone is still trying to dock because the base is to, as I said, that GPS is inside the base. Now I am here, but let me see if I can do remote access. I can access the terminal and say this autopilot, switch off. Don't worry about it anymore. You are now in a safe location. So as you saw with my patrol drone, I went outside of antenna range, but because I was using this dead man switch timer, the patrol drone returned by itself. My scout drone is still out there somewhere, floating through space. So that's why I do like to use return switches, return timers on my ships and my drones, just in case I lose connection or it goes outside of antenna range. Now, the second thing I want to show you is, let me set it up quickly. Now, what about stealth. If I want to be a stealthy user, and I am thinking that I will be using this one to connect to my patrol drone and have it scout undercover, that nobody can see this antenna. Alright, so 50 kilometers far enough, mining to patrol. Again, I like naming my antennas so that it is clearly or easy to understand who is talking to what. I need an access point, access point, access point. I don't have an access point. Just again, to make sure we don't run out of power, let me throw an access point slash power source on this. So laser antenna, let's just call this one patrol drone. And also 50. Now I can be a little bit cheaty. What I mean of that is there is antenna on that remote on the patrol drone. So remote access patrol drone. Let's go to terminal, laser antenna, and as you can see, because of the antenna, it does connect or does know the location of all antennas in the area. Patrol drone, I can say patrol drone's antenna. Did I name my antenna? Let me just quickly go back. Laser antenna, mining to patrol. Yes, it's a name. Sorry. So patrol drone terminal, laser antenna patrol drone. I want to connect to mining station to relay, mining base, relay to mining base, relay. Okay, laser antenna mining to patrol, connected. So, in concept, I should now have a connection to this remote drone outside of the kilometer range. But before I actually go into that, let me show something. Patrol drone, patrol drone. Remember, this antenna is line of sight. So I've got this looking at the drone's antenna. As you can see, they're looking at each other. I have to make very sure that that line of sight stays connected. I'll show that in a second. So let's go to control. I am in the drone. Forgot that. So I am gonna try and keep an eye on this base. Where's my base? Where's my base? Ah, there's the base. So I'm gonna try and keep this connection going. Laser antenna is tracking me. And just to be on the safe side, let's have this timer running. Alright, good news. We have a laser connection past the antenna range. Now, the reason I'm keeping this running is it's a line of sight antenna. That means even the drone itself can block its signal. So if I go behind an asteroid, I'll lose signal, I'll lose the drone. If I have a ship or something move between me and the drone, I will lose connection. So if I am turning too far, I should actually lose connection with that drone, because the drone turned so far that the laser antennas couldn't be connecting anymore. I could try to connect it again, but no, they were not connecting through coordinates. They started off their connection through antenna. Hey, so that drone should be returning on itself. That's in range again. As so I've shown you what I like to do with my drones. I've shown you what I like to do with my ships in regards to control. Last but not least is just again, on my suit there is an antenna. There's an antenna on the base. So if I have the suit, if you can see left bottom O, broadcasting is off. If I go to remote access, I can see the stuff, but terminal is off. I'm receiving the signals, but I'm not broadcasting. So I cannot receive or get access to them. If I switch on O, and I'm within 50 meters of that antenna, remote access, and everything is back. Oh, I've got laser antenna control back on this drone. It turned far enough. Alright, so laser antenna automatically reconnected. But again, it shows that if I turn far enough, I will lose connection with that antenna. And it caught itself again. Now, you're not always going to be that lucky. So the timer is running, the drone is going to be returning, and the drone is returning. So, as I said, broadcast on and off is going to be important in receiving and controlling. The same with this antenna. If this antenna's broadcast is switched off, I won't have a connection to the controls. Control panel. Broadcasting is going to send information, control things, make it available for me to control. The reason again I also actually have control of the drone is the laser antenna. They had reconnected their connection. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I do hope that was useful information. I do hope you have enjoyed today's show. And if you have any questions or any further information that you would like to know, or that you would like me to talk about or describe a little bit further, also if you really want to know how I did the remote controls on the missile launcher, please leave a comment below and I will let you know. So once again, thank you everybody. I really appreciate you watching. Have a wonderful day.